Mel here, and welcome back to Mel's Blind Life, the YouTube channel all about blindness, and welcome to another horse related video. As you may be able to tell by my background, I am not actually in the paddock with the horse for this video. I'm not even in Australia. I'm taking advantage of a quiet couple of moments here on my Princess Cruise to record this video for you guys. I'm sitting on my bed in my cabin and, just as I said, taking a couple of moments to record this video. So today I want to talk about my horse riding story. You might remember a couple of weeks ago I put up a video asking for your questions to do a Q&A video. Now I have shot that Q&A video and it will hopefully be going live on the 9th of February. But a lot of you guys asked questions in that video about my horse riding journey. So I decided that instead of answering all those questions in the Q&A video, I would do a horse riding journey story time. And also it is something that I intended to do. So here goes. So I have loved horses from a very, very young age. Growing up, my favourite show on television was The Saddle Club. It was just, I used to rush home every night after school that it was on, and I used to watch The Saddle Club. My friends and I in primary school, we used to impersonate some of the actors on The Saddle Club, and we used to play Saddle Club at school. I had a couple of friends who used to come over to my house and we used to play Saddle Club at home. We had little jumps set up and everything like that. It was really, really fun. So we used to, Saddle Club was a huge thing for us growing up. And the other thing about it was, because we lived in the country, some of our friends had horses and we sometimes used to go to each other's houses and things like that. Anyway, growing up, I personally used to go on as many trail rides and things like that as I possibly could. I rode horses every opportunity I had, and I really enjoyed it. I did take lessons a little bit, but that sort of didn't end up happening, especially in my upper high school years. I really unfortunately got out of the horse world a little bit because I had other things that I was focusing on. I was doing theatre and I was also focusing on my education and everything like that. Then when I was about 20 or 21, I had become an adult and I had my own money, and I decided that I wanted to get back into horses and back into riding. So what I did was I went to I googled for a local riding school. I knew that there were a couple, but I didn't know how close they were and things like that. And I found one that was only about 3 or 4 kilometers from my house, and I could actually walk there if I really wanted to. So I remember my first lesson was a freezing cold day. It was only about 4 degrees. It was snowing almost. It was disgusting. But the lady who was the instructor messaged me and said, "Oh, are you sure you want to go ahead with the lesson?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely." So went ahead with the lesson, and it was so exciting, but it was also a little bit nerve-wracking as well, because I didn't have any useful vision anymore, and when I had ridden previously, I had enough vision to sort of help me navigate my way around the ring or on trails. I could see the horse in front of me, and I could sometimes even see the path and things like that. So when I was younger, my vision did help with my riding, but as an adult, I wasn't able to use my vision to assist me with my riding, which made it a little bit more difficult. So when I first started riding as an adult, I was quite nervous. I did struggle a lot with the fact that I couldn't see where I was going. But once I learned a few techniques to sort of compensate for that, I was really, really lucky and really, really happy with that. Probably about 18 months after I started riding again, I was getting really, really good. I was able to walk and trot unassisted, and I was starting to learn to canter on the lunge line again. Now, it may sound ridiculous that after 18 months you're only just learning to canter, but you've got to remember that in those 18 months I had worked really hard on trusting the horse again, trusting myself, and the things that I could do independently, like walking and trotting around the arena, did take me a very long time to learn how to do and learn techniques to, as I said, compensate for my vision loss. But unfortunately, when I was learning to canter on the lunge line, the horse who I had was pregnant, and she was going on maternity leave in July of that year, 2016. So unfortunately, I could not keep riding that horse, and at the time my instructor didn't have any other horses that were suitable for me to ride. So I stopped riding, but I kept helping out at the stables. I kept going for lessons and doing things with the other horses. I learnt about long reining with one of her other horses, or a couple of her other horses. I had lessons with one of her horses, and I learnt about lunging, and I was starting to do a little bit about training and things like that. And at the end of 2016, towards the beginning of 2017, I actually got a volunteer role at the Riding for the Disabled close to where I was living in Melbourne, and was doing horse care at my local Riding for the Disabled in Berwick in Melbourne. So part of that job involved arriving and saddling up the horses for lessons for the participants of Riding for the Disabled. I also had to groom and feed the horses and look after their day-to-day care after the lessons as well. So that was something that I really enjoyed doing, and I worked there for quite a while. I can't remember how long it was exactly now. I think it might have been about 6 or so months, until they unfortunately had to close down because the land that they were on had been bought to be subdivided into a housing estate, so they had to relocate to somewhere else. At the end of 2017 was when I actually moved to Mildura, where I'm living now. And at the time, I looked for somewhere to ride, and I wanted to move my volunteering for Riding for the Disabled to Mildura. But I quickly found out that the Riding for the Disabled in Mildura had closed down, unfortunately. So the closest one was in Swan Hill, which is 2.5 hours drive from Mildura. So that meant that I couldn't continue to volunteer at Riding for the Disabled when I moved. But I did manage to find a riding school that I started taking lessons on, and in my intro at the moment is a photo of myself on the mare Firefly, who I was riding at this particular place, and I will also insert that photo here for you guys to take a look at. Now, I got a fairly long way on Firefly. As I said, I had regained my confidence as a totally blind rider when I was riding at my stable in Kyneton. So I didn't have to do that again. I did, of course, have to learn the new horse that I was riding, which was Firefly, but I had become used to riding different horses while I was working for the RDA, because I used to ride some of their horses. We had one horse at the Riding for the Disabled that I used to ride every Wednesday morning, because they had a vision impaired participant who they weren't really sure. She wanted to go a long way, but they weren't really sure how to teach either her or the horse how to do their courses and things like that. So because of my previous riding experience, what we used to do was the instructor used to help the participant by getting me to ride her horse in the morning over the course, and she used to use me to figure out how to tell the participant where to turn and things like that. So I had become accustomed to riding that horse while I was at RDA, and I rode a couple of their other horses. We did have an old horse who was about 25, who he was not used for lessons anymore, but sometimes I used to put a saddle on him and just take him for a bit of a stretch. And he was really my horse that I looked after at RDA. As I said, he wasn't in classes anymore, but he was the demonstration horse. He was the horse that we used to show other volunteers how to do things like grooming and tacking up and things like that. And we had a couple of trail rides that we did that I didn't ride this horse on, but I led him on. So that horse was really the one that I looked after. And as I said, in the first beginning of me starting to work there, in the first couple of months, I did ride him a couple of times. So while I was working at RDA, and also while I was still taking lessons at my old stable in Kyneton, I did get used to like how to manage a different horse. Anyway, back to Mildura. I was taking lessons on Firefly for quite a while, probably on and off during all of 2018. I was taking lessons. I did have a bit of a slow start just getting Firefly on the move, because she wasn't used to me and I wasn't used to her. But after a while, I was able to go back to doing things like walking and trotting around the arena independently, and I went back to learning how to canter on the lunge rein. I unfortunately had to stop taking lessons there in about September or October of 2018, because it was a very long way out of town and it was costing me far too much money in taxis, plus the lesson fee to go and take my lessons there. Now, as for the horse that I have now and everything like that, I'm not going to get into detail of how I got Maggie, but I've been looking after her now since September. I probably, as I said, I won't go into much detail in that regard, just to protect people's privacy, but she and I have been working together since September. With her, I have been able to use all of my skills that I learnt from Riding for the Disabled and other things like that to get her back into being handled and led and everything now. And as you've seen in some of my recent videos, especially my last barn vlog, she is doing exceptionally well at being led, and she's starting to learn to lunge, and she's doing so good now. So that is sort of where I'm at with that one. I don't really know what I want to achieve with her yet. We're still working through her health issues, her roach back and her hip problem, but I do have a lady who is running her own riding school in Mildura and Merbein now, and she is going to become my instructor, and I'm just not sure how far her and I are going to be able to take Maggie, but we'll see where we go. So that is really my riding journey. If you've got any questions about that, please ask me in the comment section down below. Also, if you have a story that you want to tell me about horse riding, or as I said, any further questions or anything, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to apologize for how rushed this video has been, but as I said, I am on my cruise at the moment, and I realized that I didn't get the vlog that I had recorded up in time for you guys. So that is the video for today. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this quick riding story. Please also subscribe to my channel. We've hit 210 subscribers. I'm so happy. Thank you all for joining me. And please also remember to share this video with your friends and family, and click the bell notifications so that you get informed when I upload my next video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.